friend. Good to see you. We are working with the letter R today. R, rat, Your mouth is kind of together. So rat, rascally, rhinoceros. We're going to read a story about a rhinoceros. Let's see if you know the other sounds. Ready? M, man, ma. Go ahead, say it. Very nice. D, terrible, top, t. I hear ya. B, banana, bat, buh. B, banana, bat, buh. F, funny friends, f. Good for you. N, nut, nuh. Good for you. All right, so you know your sounds. Here is how the rhinoceros got his skin, and it's a folk tale. This is written by Rudyard Kipling. And he's done a couple of stories that maybe your parents have heard. Ricky Tikki Tavi is one of them. And, well, there's a whole lot of them. I'm not going to go through Rudyard Kipling's biography right now. But it's a folk tale, which means it has a person in it. He does some amazing things. And there's always an animal. So this is the animal, the rhinoceros. And he is kind of let's say he's a grumble muffin. Look at him. He is not a pleasant looking animal right now. And there's a reason why a rhinoceros is not pleasant looking. Okay. Let's go this way. All right, now you can see it. Once upon a time, on the uninhabited island of the shores of the Red Sea, there lived a Parsee, from whose hat the rays of the sun were reflected in a very beautiful splendor. And the Parsee lived by the Red Sea with nothing but his hat and his knife and a cooking stove, the kind that you must particularly never touch. Look at that face. Oh, can you make that face? Wait. Go ahead and make that face. Oh, you're good at it. So am I, but that's all right. I guess we're like twins that way. One day he took flour and water and currants. Currants are like a little smaller than raisins, and plums and sugar and things, and made himself one cake which was 2 feet across and 3 feet thick. It was indeed a superior combustible. That's magic. And he put it on the stove because he was allowed to cook on that stove. And he baked it till it was all done brown and smelled most sentimental. Here's his stove. And he's going to put this big old cake right in there. Look at the size of that bowl. All right. Yeah, he almost has a smile there. But just as he was going to eat it, there came down to the beach from the uninhabited interior one rhinoceros with a horn on his nose, 2 piggy eyes, and few manners. In those days, the rhinoceros's skin fitted him quite tight. There were no wrinkles in it anywhere. He looked exactly like a Noah's Ark rhinoceros, but of course, much bigger. He's a grumble muffin. Uh-oh. At the same time, he had no manners then, and he has no manners now. And he will never have any manners. He said, "How?" And the Parsee left the cake and climbed to the top of the palm tree with nothing on but his hat, from which the rays of the sun were always reflected in great splendor. Whew! He's a nudie. What? What is this about? That naughty rhinoceros, look what he did. Oh, and the rhinoceros upset the oil stove with his nose, and the cake rolled on the sand, and he spiked that cake on the horn of his nose, and he ate it, and he went away, waving his tail to the desolate and exclusively uninhabited interior, which abuts the islands of Mazandaran. Then the Parsee came down from his palm tree, put the stove on its legs, and recited the following sloka, which, if you have not heard, I will proceed to relate. Them that takes cakes which the Parsee man bakes makes dreadful mistakes. Uh-oh. There's gonna be some bad business happening here. Oh, boy. And there was a great deal more in that you would think, because 5 weeks later, there was a heat wave in the Red Sea, and everyone took off all the clothes they had. Ooh! Yikes! The Parsee took off his hat, but the rhinoceros took off his skin and carried it over his shoulder as he came down to the beach to bathe. In those days, it buttoned underneath with 3 buttons and looked like it was waterproof. He said nothing whatsoever about the Parsee's cake because he had eaten it all and he never had any manners then, now, or henceforward. He waddled straight into the water and blew bubbles through his nose, leaving his skin on the beach. Oh, look at him. He's all pink and beautiful. We're just out there. So he took his skin off and he left it on the beach. Presently, the Parsee came by and found the skin, and he smiled. One smile that ran around his face 2 times. Then he danced 3 times round the skin and rubbed his hands. Uh-oh. Something rascally is going to happen here. What's he going to do? Got to turn and tell the person next to you, what do you think's going to happen? Got to whisper it. What's he gonna do? He sees the skin, and the Parsee is, he's mad as a hornet right now because that rhinoceros stole his cake. He looks like he's gonna do something naughty. Oh boy. Then he went to his camp and filled his hat with cake crumbs, for the Parsee never ate anything but cake and never swept out his camp. He took that skin and he shook that skin and he scrubbed that skin and he rubbed that skin just as full of old, dry, stale, tickly cake crumbs and some burnt currants as it ever could possibly hold. He took all kinds of crumbs and put it in the rhinoceros's skin. Oh my goodness. Oh no. All right, here comes that pink and perfect rhinoceros coming to get his skin. Then he climbed, let's go this way. Then he climbed to the top of his palm tree and waited for the rhinoceros to come out of the water and put it on. And the rhinoceros did. He buttoned it up with 3 buttons and it tickled like cake crumbs in bed. Then he wanted to scratch, but that made it worse. And then he lay down on the sands and rolled and rolled and rolled. And every time he rolled, the cake crumbs tickled him worse and worse and worse. Oh, it's like an itch you can't get rid of. And it's inside his skin. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Look at his face now. Then he ran to the palm tree and rubbed and rubbed and rubbed himself against it. He rubbed so hard and so much and so hard that he rubbed his skin into a great fold over his shoulders and another fold underneath where the buttons used to be. But he rubbed the buttons off. Then he rubbed some more folds over his legs, and it spoiled his temper. But it didn't make the least difference to the cake crumbs. They were inside his skin, and they tickled. So he went home very angry indeed and horribly scratchy. And from that day to this day, every rhinoceros has great folds in his skin and a very bad temper, all on account of the cake crumbs on the inside. Oh. But the Parsee came down from his palm tree wearing his hat, from which the rays of the sun were reflected in beautiful splendor, packed up his cooking stove, and went away in the direction of Ottavo. There he goes. Came down, picked up his stuff. He's out of there. He's like, see you later. And there's the rhinoceros. That was kind of a crazy folktale, wasn't it? Yeah, it was kind of funny. Because a rhinoceros has those cake crumbs on the inside and it makes them all scratchy, itchy. Blah! I guess it's like having poison ivy on the inside of your skin. Oh, it makes me want to itch so much, scratch. Blah! But we read that for the letter R. R, rat, And what you're going to do with your is you're going to write your How are we going to write our So, make sure you're at the cloud line. If you're here at home, I'm here at school, you're going to use the blue line to the red line. And you make one line down. Then you make a head on it. Oh, look, it looks like a P, but now we're going to kick that right out. And we're going to make an R. So it's a line down, a head, and a kick out. The lowercase r, you go from the jet line to the ground, and then you hook it out. Right down, hook it out. So that's how you make an R. It makes an sound. So you have you have a couple penmanship dittos. Penmanship is a big word for learning to write correctly. So here's the first one. R. R. So you're going to make two R's, uppercase and lowercase. If it begins with the sound, color it. So you have sock, ruler, rug, tent, umbrella, roller skates, slide, robots. On the flip side, circle it. If it begins with an R or an F. So you have rope, you have rabbit. I thought bunny at first, but no, it's a rabbit. Farm, 5, ring, and fan. So if it's an or a f that you hear in the beginning of the sound, yes, that is easy. I agree. R, 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 to write two R's. Color it in if it begins with an R. Rake, horse, rocket, moon, rabbit, dog, dolphin, ring. On the flip side, three R's. I'm telling you, we're penmanship all over the place and recognizing the first sound. Ring, desk, robot, fish, please don't circle fish, rabbit, and a rooster. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Yeah, we have one more penmanship. Please write it. The lowercase r gives some people difficulty. That's why there's so many of them. Now, if you get to this page and you say, what in tarnation? This page is a challenge. I do not expect most of you to do it, but there are some people who can. So you do not need to do this if it's frustrating. Okay, I'm not here to frustrate you. I'm here to make you grow and see what we can do. So the word is can, or the picture is can. Which one says can, then you would write it. Here's a dot. Which one says dot, then you would write it. Fan, tot, mat, and sad. Again, this is a challenge. You don't need to do it, but there are a few of you I know can do it, and I want to challenge you just a little bit. This is your math for today. Yeah, you're looking at it and you're saying, oh, I get it. So I have to make 5 squares. Yeah, you have to make 5 squares. I have to make 2 circles. One star. Now that's tricky business, right? Making a star, so you're do the best you can. There are different ways to make stars, I'll show you. And then 4 hearts. So if I were going to make a star and I had no idea how to make a star, none, I could make 2 triangles. I can make a triangle here, and then I can make a triangle on top of it, right? Kind of looks like a star. If you're tricky and you want to go and make a star, you can. Whichever way you can do it. It's up to you. Then there's stars that go like this. It's up to you. It looks like a starfish, doesn't it? So we're doing the sound. That's all I have for you today. Don't be a rascal like that rhinoceros. Oh, that's not a nice fella. He was not a nice animal. And then the Parsee was pretty funny, wasn't he? Anyway, have a great day. I will see you soon. Bye.